Hey guys, it's FOX-WOLFMAN here, and I'm here today to go more in depth about my gaming PC build. Well, gaming/editing build. Now, remember my last video I actually talked about the reason why I chose my case and all that, and why I'm building a PC, but yeah, I decided to go more in depth. I would have actually had this video updated earlier, but I had some problems with editing because the camera I was using, because I couldn't find batteries for my mic at the time. Well, it's in a format that's no longer supported by any program I use. Yeah. Fuck me. Anyway, let's actually go into the parts I used and some of the software. Now, the first part I used, or choosing, was the CPU. Now, I know a lot of you are thinking, yeah, you remember saying AMD in your last video, yeah, I disliked you for that, and yada yada yada, I'm like flat out lie. But I like this CPU quite a bit. FX8320, it's a great CPU. Granted, it's not the 8350. I wish I had the money for that, but it's like $40 more, and I can overclock this to be like the 8350 and standard clocks. It's a good processor. It's multi-core, which really gonna help what I'm doing. I know a lot of you are gonna say go with Intel better. Yeah, on some applications, but I'm gonna be doing a lot of rendering, and for what this is actually competing at with its i5s, it's better at rendering. Next thing I chose was, I know I want good RAM, and part of me, I don't actually have an R26 to show you. I'm not taking apart my PC to show. I went with Kingston HyperX 1600 megahertz RAM. Now that's some pretty fast RAM. Since I'm doing editing, that's exactly what I need. If I was just doing gaming, I would have gone with the 1333. Now I know a lot of you think, oh, I want to go with that. You know those games. Well, most games aren't going past that right now in terms of your standard motherboard RAM. There's no point going any higher. Now, I should show that later. I chose for my motherboard an Asus M5 A97 Lite R 3 Division 2.2. Now, the reason why I chose this and not the Pro version is I'm not running a 9590. And I chose the Lite version because I actually got like $15 cheaper than normally what I would go for. So it's like, yeah, motherboard is normally like $90, 85 bucks. And it handles my CPU great. I want to upgrade this eventually though, and use this in a different build for like a cousin or something as a gift. But for now it works. Now, for my graphics card, this is actually 2-generation old graphics card. I chose it because I got it for about 100 bucks. And it's actually still a decent graphics card. A lot of people still use it in their system. And that's the Asus HD 7770 GHz edition 2GB card. This is a great card, at least for what I'm doing. I'll probably be able to put prices on it at 720p on lowest settings. I don't care. I mean, and I'm talking about prices, 3 not original prices. Max that one out probably. But I don't care. I'll be able to play the damn game and still have fun. So yeah, I will be upgrading this card though eventually, and probably use this one to do a different build for a cousin. Yeah. Now, every good system needs a power source. And this one, it's a great power source. Hands down, it's one of the best companies to buy a power supply from. That's Corsair's CX500. This is a great power supply. It'll run every component I have in my build and still have a little bit of overhead. Actually, quite a bit of overhead, about almost 100 watt overhead. Because I did the math, it's about 100 watt overhead. So yeah, I can actually throw in a water cooler, which I will be doing, because this runs hot. Yeah, runs extremely hot. Don't believe me? Idle temperature 30 degrees Celsius. Don't like that. When I'm pushing it at 60 degrees Celsius, and I know a lot of people go, oh, for an AMD processor, that's fine, I can use stock cooler. I don't like the sound of stock cooler when I'm editing. Okay? But this is a great processor. I mean, not processor, excuse my French. Power supply. See, why the hell did I say processor? But anyways, great power supply. It's recommended by a lot of people on YouTube, especially Linus Tech Tips. No, not Linus Tech Tips. I don't know. But Austin Evans is what I meant. He uses this power supply, well, not this version, but the 430 watt version in his builds. Last but not least, the operating system. Now, I could have gone with Windows. I could have gone with a couple different types of operating system. I could have stuck with Windows 7, which is what I know and use and love. But it will eventually be outdated. I won't get updates for it anymore. And I don't like being behind. I could have gone with Linux and upgrade that ever so often and not have a problem. But let's be honest here. Linux is a great operating system. Don't get me wrong. People using their server farms and NAS systems, but I had to go with Windows 8.1. I know a lot of people go, oh my god, you chose the worst operating system that Windows ever done. No, the worst operating system Windows ever done was Vista. And trust me, I hated Vista. I had computers crash on me, I had to replace hard drives on Vista. Not fun. Yeah, and this I'm not having any problems with so far. Works great, I figured it out. And I normally have it just on the desktop. Except I don't have it on right now, but that's beside the point. Now, let's transition over and you can see the components in the case. Now, right now what you're seeing here is my two hard drives. My, hard drive and SSD. My Kingston 120 watt, 120 gigabyte, yeah, said watts again. SSD. It just has my operating system main programs. Below that, it's my 1 terabyte Western Digital hard drive. Right now, in terms of hard drives, I would go no less than 1 terabyte. They're very cheap. And they don't cost a lot. There's like $70 for mine. Now, you got my power supply. Cabling is not exactly the cleanest right there. We'll be working on that later. Graphics card. The fan. My RAM and my cooler. Yay! Now, one thing to note about this motherboard is I can support up to 32 gigabytes of RAM. I'm not going to be running that much at any time with this motherboard because of my power supply. But I will be running 16 gigabytes sooner or later because I will be installing another 8 gigs of Kingston in here. And so I can use my actual 3.0 headers on my case. I will be getting a USB 3.0 to 2.0 connector. Now, you let me know, what would you have done differently in this build? What parts would you have gone with? And give me some suggestions on how to make this video better. And please, rate, comment, and subscribe. This is FOX-WOLFMAN signing off.